At Northwestern Mutual Southern Wisconsin, they believe better conversations lead to better outcomes. They focus on a holistic financial planning process that starts with where you are right now. They design solutions that fit your specific goals and priorities and that can evolve over time. Wherever you are today, no matter what's next, they'll develop customized recommendations designed to fit your life. Visit their website or call them today. Northwestern Mutual Southern Wisconsin, a better way to money. Looking for your next home on the east side of Madison? Welcome to the Canopy Collective, a vibrant community proudly managed by Focus. Choose from spacious 1, 2, or 3-bedroom apartments that offer comfort, style, and plenty of room for your pets to feel at home too. You'll enjoy world-class amenities like pools, dog parks, playgrounds, and more, everything you need right where you live. Focus is on a mission to elevate the resident experience in every community they serve. Discover the Focus difference and find your dream apartment today at rentwithfocus.com. Today on CityCast Madison. It's Thursday, so of course, we're dishing on Madison's food scene. Are you having any trouble keeping up with all the new restaurants coming to town? Us too. So we've invited on our friend Lindsay Christians, food and culture editor at the Cap Times, to get us up to speed on all the new Madison area restaurants and give us a sneak peek at those soon to come. It's Thursday, May 22nd. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Lindsay, welcome back to CityCast Madison. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes, so this is one of my favorite types of conversations with you, which is like a roundup of restaurants, of new restaurants. Because the last time we talked about what's new in Madison, it was a long time ago, right? Only the beginning of the year in January. And you already have a whole roster of new spots.
It's incredible. The change has been really fast these past few months.
Yeah. I mean, so it sounds like there are dozens of new places that have come to the scene. And before we get to the new spots, I know that last time we chatted, we did talk about in January, the spots that were coming soon that are now here. So can we start there? What are some of those places and how are they doing?
Yeah. So some of them have really turnkey. So Mishki downtown, where Little Palace was most recently, they were already open.
Over on King Street?
Yeah. Atiko at the Moxie is our latest rooftop bar on top of a hotel in downtown Madison. We got some gorgeous photos of that when they first opened.
The space looks really, really appealing.
Yeah, it's very colorful. And I want to drink a margarita on a roof.
Yes.
Say less,
Yes.
That sounds
say
great.
Less.
Right? There's Haven, which is open on Gilman Street. They're doing skewers, kind of like Izakaya Kuriyama, which I don't know if we've talked about yet, but...
We have. We actually interviewed the owner on the show.
Oh, so, cool. Yeah. Love it. But
Japanese street food on State Street.
Yeah, Haven is open near campus on Gilman. I think it was Blue Velvet Lounge before. And they're open. They're doing skewers. They're doing karaoke. So that place, they're having a grand opening May 25th. So coming up here pretty soon. But they already are soft open. El Gallo in Monona is a new Mexican place that is open. Level 5 had a crazy opening day for the donut shop where Fortune Favors Nuts was. That's interesting because, so Level 5 is basically subleasing that space from Fortune Favors, the candied pecan company. So you'll still find the pecans there, but it's a donut shop. They are working on transitioning away from coffee shops distribution of their donuts to having it all at that new location, the new donut shop spot.
We talked to the head chef and we asked her, what does it feel to be running a donut cult?
That's fantastic.
She
I have to say
liked
my favorite is that blueberry lemon. I really love that one.
I mean, I love their flavors and they're vegan donuts. So that's why, they just have crushed it. So
Yeah. And then Orchard is open in Verona, and it's really pretty. a very open, it's sort of that old school kind of farm to table concept, like old school being like 20 years ago, not 50.
But like beckoning back to a little
Yeah.
bit, yeah, but like modern in some ways.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of the Ready Set in the menu. So it's like you have some things that I think of as like upscale pub food or gastropubby kind of stuff. And then also like more casual stuff where you can just go and get some appetizers and things like that. And the cocktails look incredible.
All right. It's got a nice name as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get a cocktail with apple brandy in it made from the cider people. We love it.
And I saw in the article that, you're giving us the goods from that you did the research for. You also have an interactive map there. I don't know if that's new, but like definitely want folks to check that out and use it. Because I know that you've done that for like patios and, it's a useful tool.
The patio map is one that Ruthie updates every single spring. So that will always have like new openings and closings, and we'll try to keep it as up to date as we can. But there's hundreds of patios on there. And the nice thing is like my mom is coming to visit soon, and I know she's going to want to eat outside, right? And when your parents come to
She
town.
has sense.
Yep. And also like this is the perfect time to be eating outside because the bugs aren't really out yet.
Let's dig in, pun intended, to what's new and open this May. So let's talk about the new. What's got you excited there?
I am really excited to see this new Jamaican spot on Monroe Street called Fireside. So
like fire?
Yes, like FYA,
Yeah.
SYDE, Fireside.
Nice.
Owned by this like wonderful, I don't know if they're like business partners or partners, but it's two people from the Dells. They had a business up in the Dells and they've opened it now on Monroe Street where Taberna Tacos was most recently. I think it was a fish shop like Burke and Benham before that. But it's right on Monroe and they're doing Jamaican style food in addition to like hamburgers and things like that. But they're doing burgers, sandwiches with Jamaican twist, classic Caribbean dishes like oxtail stew, jerk chicken, curry goat. Just sounds really good.
For folks who have been paying attention to the show for years, I feel like that's my number one thing that I'll say. What do I want more of in Madison is Jamaican food.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and Caribbean. So heck yes, let's go Fireside.
Yes. So that's one definitely that you'll want to try out. I was thrilled to see that Los Atlantes finally opened on Park Street.
Yeah.
That's been coming for like a full year. It's like a Mexican bakery, so you can get those like big conchas, like those big like shell like breads. They're like a sweet bread and they're really yummy. But Los Atlantes, they've got a couple other locations. I think that this is our third one. Classic Mexican dishes right there in South Park. It looks like it's a really cool location for them. Also, staying on that part of town, Park Street, Paleo Mama has finally opened its expanded space. I am in love with their graham crackers. I am like gluten positive. I love gluten, but I also love Paleo Mama because why not both? So they're lovely. And I feel like it's wonderful to have a place where like if you're going to an event with people who have some food restrictions, that you have so many beautiful options at a place like that. So that's now open on Park. I've got a writer going soon to Istanbul Mediterranean Kitchen, which is a new food cart that's parked outside the Fresh Mart on the west side of Madison. And they're doing this dish called lahmacun, which is like an Algerian flatbread. It's wrapped around meat. I had a similar thing in St. Louis for the first time earlier this year, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. Why does Madison not have it? And now we do.
Oh, man.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
So we'll have more on that in the Cap Times soon because, as I said, I've got a writer going there who's going to find out all about how they make it, and that's going to be really cool. I'm also really intrigued by this Italian-Indian fusion spot in Fitchburg called Zafferano's.
So your homie and our homie Rob Thomas, the newsletter writer for Madison Minutes, he brought this up on one of our monthly guides. It sounds really exciting.
Yeah, it's one of those things where this is like a national trend, right? Like it's happening in other parts of the country,
Fusion.
But usually well, yeah, but Indian and Italian specifically, right? And it usually takes a lot longer to get here. But it's here, which is kind of fun and a little unexpected. But just right as Our reporter Ashley was writing a story about it, like went and had the food and like had the cardamom Negroni and the whole thing. And then like the next week I read something in the New Yorker about it and I was like, oh, look at Madison. Like we're,
Wow.
you know,
That makes
we're
me
catching
feel
up on the
good.
trends.
We deserve.
Right?
Yeah, but do you feel like that's to me, when I heard that, I was like, oh, duh. Like natural combination, Indian and Italian. Like when you think about sauces and, but Rob was kind of like, yeah, that's a different one. And I thought, I'm like, this actually makes a lot, just like intuitively to me, that's like a really good combo.
I'm just saying, Rob has a long history of yeah, I ate that columns where he ate all kinds of nonsense. This is not even a stretch for him.
That's fair. That people go check that out if you haven't. You can find that online.
Look up the yeah, I ate that about the Thanksgiving flavored jelly beans. It's one of my faves.
Oh my gosh. Let's get back to what's new in Madison. Are there any new patios or just like patios we should shout out for folks that they should renew their experience out there?
Yes, there absolutely are. So some patios that Ruthie was mentioning that she recommends, because Ruthie is the patio expert. She's our photographer at the Cap Times. Cafe Domestique and Glue Glue. It's a wine bar that's been kind of in residence over at the Heights, and now there's also a coffee shop there. So Cafe Domestique, there's one at North Street, and then there's one on Willie Street. This is their third location on Allen on the near west. They have this really cool, if you remember it from when it was the Heights, if you've been over there, they have a cool little like enclosed back patio that's like lovely and quiet there in that neighborhood.
Feels intimate.
Yes, it does.
But
really
it's not
does
really
feel
too
intimate.
small. It's just like it feels because it's enclosed, nice and intimate.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. Casa Zaragoza, which is on Park Street, has a pretty substantial covered patio, I think, out front. So again, covered patio, I burn easily. I love to see that. One of the new places that we talked about in the recent story was the Links at Pioneer Point, which is a golf course, and they have a huge covered patio and an outdoor bar. So that's very cool. And then it's a little bit outside of the Madison area, but Reunion in Spring Green. So they have the Homecoming location and they have Reunion. Homecoming, at least, I know has a gorgeous patio out there, a beautiful place to sit outside. And Reunion does too, just right on the side of the building.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I mean, it's like, it's hard to be in this time of the year and not talk about patios. Like, we've got to talk about patios. Like, it's a trend that will continue to trend, right?
Yes.
I do want to talk about another trend that I feel like Madison is having, or, let me know if I'm wrong, like a Latin American cuisine renaissance. We talked about Los Atalantes on South Park Street and just that area. I mean, there's so many selection for Latin American food on South Park and across the city. I mean, recently open spots include Taco Madre on Atwood Ave, El Rancho Breakfast and Tacos on East Johnson. We talked about Attico Lounge on East Wash. Is this something that you've noticed? And, are there any trends with the sort of openings that you're writing about?
Yeah, I would say we've seen sort of a opening more of like Latin American, Mexican inspired restaurants for sure. I will also say I'm seeing more Southeast Asian food. So Viettown just opened out by Easttown Mall. There's Cuddy Leaf, South Indian Kitchen, and Thai Boat Noodle is in Sun Prairie. Those are all new, like within the past, I think, few months. So that is a trend that I'm definitely seeing as well, the Southeast Asian trend, if we want to call like a handful of restaurants a trend. I was interested
Here
to
in Madison,
see...
I think it's allowed.
Yeah,
I mean, you're the food writer.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Want to have some summer fun for a good cause? Loop the Lake is coming up on Saturday, June 14th, and it's not to be missed. Loop the Lake is a benefit for Clean Lakes Alliance, presented by Lake Ridge Bank. It's a go-at-your-own-pace bike ride around Lake Monona with a bunch of other lovely bikers who care about the greater Madison Lakes. And perk, kids 10 and under ride free with a paid adult. The bike ride includes food, beverages, and t-shirts, and lots of fun along the way. The ride starts and ends at Ulbrich Park, and riders will travel 13 miles clockwise around Lake Monona. And you can choose to ride, walk, run, or paddle virtually from anywhere at any time. So, you in? Sign up for Loop the Lake today. Go to cleanlakesalliance.org/loop-the-lake. Use code BIKE10 to save 10%.
You don't need to use an oversized AI model for everything, just like you don't need to use an axe to slice a cake. Find out how smaller models can deliver the right results and help cut AI costs up to 90% at IBM.com. The AI built for business. IBM. Great solos don't make a symphony. In music or AI, get AI that's in tune with your business at IBM.com. The AI built for business. IBM.
So I was writing recently about Miko Poke becoming Highway 1, right? Which is it's a food fight restaurant. Food Fight is a restaurant group that has something like 16 restaurants, all with different concepts, which most restaurant groups have like a lot of the same concept. And Food Fight is a little bit more unusual in that it has so many different concepts with one umbrella.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about Miko Poke becoming Highway 1, which is sort of this like Baja, Mexico-inspired spot, it's still a bowl restaurant. It's the bowl trend. So we saw this quite a lot during the 2010s where like everything was like something in a bowl. So Madison's going to be getting its first sweet green. It's like stuff in a bowl.
Right.
Chipotle.
Grain bowls were life.
Grain bowls, salad bowls. So we have a new Teriyaki Madness. That's a chain that just opened on the west side. Downtown on State Street, we have a new bowl restaurant called Custom Mac and Cheese, where you can customize your mac and cheese. Gyro Guys. It looks like Gyro Guys, honestly, but it's Gyro Guys, I think. I don't know. That's another kind of bowl restaurant where Nar Turkish is also a bowl restaurant where it's like rice and then you choose your toppings and that kind of thing. They're variations on this idea.
Is it Chipotle's fault?
I mean, it might
The Chipotle boys banded together. And by boys, I mean me.
Right.
I'm part of the Chipotle boys. I've said that before.
I do think so. You know, I mentioned Gyro Guys and Nar Turkish. I do think we're seeing a little bit more Mediterranean, a little bit more halal options in the Madison area.
So like Middle Eastern?
Yeah, Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, that kind of thing. I would also say like every time Madison gets a new apartment building, we also get a new coffee shop. There's so many coffee shops. And the coffee shops we have already are adding more locations. It's just coffee shops.
Is it improving our coffee scene? Because many an outsider will say that we do not have that strong of a scene.
We don't. Like, it comes and goes. Like, we'll have, like, a really great place that's doing something, you know, really inventive and cool, and then they don't last. And that's happened a couple of times. I will say some of the places that are opening, so Rasta Barista is locally owned. That's down in the Black Business Hub. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for them after you told us about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Jamaican coffee that they're doing down there. Cafe Aron is a coffee shop that's like based out of New York that they open in the West Town Mall. But like it's coffee shops for days. Cafe Vitruvius in Middleton.
Wake up,
too.
It's spring, baby. Get your coffee.
Yes, caffeinate. We got to get through this.
And then while we're talking about drinks, I know you mentioned them, but when we're talking like new bars, the Café Domestique with Glue Glue, which is so fun. It's like an onomatopoeia, a French onomatopoeia for like glug glug and drinking down some wine. Because that is what's happening, right? It's a little bit of a glug glug. But we also love the owner and the sommelier running that. She's absolutely lovely.
Oh, yeah. MJ is so nice. MJ has wanted to do this kind of concept, I think, for a while. And so she started it, I want to say last year, like last summer, last fall, and was running it kind of like a pop-up with food carts that came. And now it's really established. We're sharing that space with the Café Domestique. As I mentioned, they're doing the coffee shop in the morning and the wine bar at night. So it's like business in the front, party in the back, which I really like.
They need that like a bronze plaque in the front that says
Yeah. It's a cool concept, I think.
Yeah. And then there's the Green Room Public House, which I am actually going to tonight. For the first time.
I love this.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the people who were in there before, but I'm excited to support the new ones, just see like what that's all about.
Yeah, we've seen this many times in Madison where someone who has been associated with or managing another bar like finally gets to go out on their own and have their own spot. So this is John Hardy. He was at the Up North bar for it looks like 16 years or so, and this is his spot. I reached out to him when I was working on the roundup of new places, and he said they're getting their classics and their house specials like set. They're still kind of adjusting the menu and getting things dialed in. But I love to see people who've been in the industry a really long time finally get their own spot. That's always really cool to see.
Yeah, yeah. Supporting local. It's such a connected scene.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about some shakeups. I want to talk about that. So we talked about West Side's Miko Poke turning into Highway 1, the Baja inspired that you were just mentioning. Oh, apparently also on the east side, Touch of Ukraine is closing. But the folks over at Rare Steakhouse are actually going to take over that space, which is really interesting. So some known entities that are pivoting or going under new ownership. Can you talk us through that or walk us through what's happening with the transition there?
Yeah, so there are a couple of transitions. So there's that one over at the Touch of Ukraine location on the east side, right? There are also a few others. Like Adama Neighborhood Table is changing over.
And this is at UW Hillel over on Lincoln Street. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote about them a while ago. That's such an interesting spot because it is really serving like a very specific group of people, right? But it's open to everybody. Anyone can go. And they're calling it a dairy coffee shop. And like that phrase hit my ear a little weird. And I was like, oh, no, they really want to emphasize to people that now they have dairy, which means that they're not, that before they had meat but no dairy because it's a crossover kind of thing.
And now they've kind of moved away from the meat. But they have dairy. Yeah.
So it's a vegetarian coffee shop, but with dairy, which I think is kind of cool. The owners of Amar Peru, which I actually really loved. I got to go there a few months ago. They've changed it over to their more casual concept, Paquito, which has excellent roast chicken and the best alfajores I've ever had. So highly recommend Paquito. Like the alfajores are like those little sandwich cookies.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember. I'm like, oh yeah, she's crazy for those alfajores.
I love them. They're so good.
You're like best. Did you say like best cookie in town at one point?
Best alfajores in town. Yeah.
Okay, best alfajores.
I love it. So there are lots of changes, and I do think we will continue to see them just as like the economy figures out what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're also watching from the owners of Halong Bay, like what's going into the former Mint Mark location at 29 Winnebago Street. We're just kind of like watching and waiting.
That is close to some of our homes around here, so everybody will sort of have eyes on it, I think.
Yeah, yeah. We've talked about a lot of goodness so far, and as normal, there's more to come. So those are the spots, that are open, but what about the spots that are on your radar to open soon?
Yeah, so I feel like I heard about the Collectiva going into Willie Street like last summer, but they finally announced it a couple of months ago that there's going to be a new Collectiva location on Willie Street. There is going to be a new spot called Frank and Andrea. So this is a Dinkytown, like small chain from Minneapolis area. The owners have several locations of Tano Pizzeria and Cheesesteaks, 9 locations of that, but they're opening a Frank and Andrea, which is for, again, cheesesteaks and pizza, which sounds like very late night food. Yeah.
Yes. I honestly, I have not had a Philly cheesesteak since I've been in Philly, which has been a couple of years now. So actually, that sounds really good.
They're going to be serving food until 2 and 3 in the morning.
Okay. So, late night, come through.
Like real late night. That's their area. So that spot is coming. Pink Heifer Saloon and Steakhouse. I was reading some reporting from the State Journal actually about that. And the owner of that restaurant announced that they want to do a bunch of pink heifers, a lot of them. I think they want to open.
Sounds offensive, but almost like it's taking the word back because it's got pink in front of it. Pink Pony Club.
Yes, yeah. Pink Heifer Saloon.
I'm gonna go to the Pink Heifer Saloon.
They want to open 25 locations in the next 5 years, which sounds bananas to me.
Wow.
I can't believe it. They can't be that many in Madison. You can only
well, we're reclaiming the heifer.
Yep. There's a new ice cream shop. So the person behind it used to be called Dairy Godmother, and now it's Stelli's Ice Cream. So we wrote about Dairy Godmother, I think, last year. She had like a little cart at the square and like just yummy ice creams there. And she's opening in the former Coco Va space on East Wash. And then Coco Va is opening June 21st. In their new location on Odana Court.
Oh, that's a big one.
Nice little turnover. Yeah. I'm excited for Coco Va. Like, their chocolates are gorgeous, and they needed this larger space. So it's really kind of a cool expansion for them.
Good for them.
And then recently, I went to Donato Deli, which is the Divino folks. So Divino on King Street. And like right around that corner there, they had this like grab and go deli.
It's the D''Vino.
Divino. Yeah.
Like it's like the wine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I had 2 sandwiches. I got a tuna sandwich for myself, and I got a porchetta sandwich for my husband. And I wanted to steal his because it was just so good. It's super easy to order online. There's some construction around there at the moment, but it's worth sort of fighting your way through and getting to Donato Deli because it's delicious. And I really hope that they are open in and around Concerts on the Square because that's what I want.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Concerts on the Square season this year. It's a good time, and I feel like I've hibernated for whatever reason. So I will also be looking out for that. Lindsay, before we wrap, I know we've covered a lot of good ground. Are there any other spots that you want to highlight that are making a splash on the scene that we haven't touched on?
So a couple places that I'm curious about that I've got writers going to explore and report back on. One of them is Cafe Mimi, which is this little comfort food spot on Allen Street. They're doing tteokbokki and kimbap and japchae, all Korean delicious things that are wonderful. But the hours are kind of short, and so I wanna find out more about what's going on there. I'm really intrigued by it, but I don't know too much about it yet. There are a couple other places. Like I'm really excited to get down to Orchard. I haven't been down to Orchard yet. I'm excited for Zeffirano's. That place sounds very cool. There's a new Indian restaurant called Cuddy Leaf that's out by the Easttown Mall, and apparently the dosas there are incredible. So I love a dosa. Those, if you remember, it's like a really, really big crepe.
Yeah.
Like really long.
Yeah.
Filled with delicious savory things. So that's really fun. A couple other places I'm excited about. I am excited to try the new menu at Little Cloud. That's the new name of the 7 Acre Dairy Kitchen.
Oh, cute.
Right? Run by Ben Serum and Anna Landmark of Landmark Creamery. So they've got a new menu, new concept down there. I love going down to 7 Acre during the summer because it's right there on the river. So that's really cool. Hop Garden is opening a new brewery in Belleville, which is very cool. They might already be open. I have not been down there yet, so don't quote me on that, but that looks really fun. And again, like an opportunity to just sort of be outside on a beautiful day, which I like a lot. So yeah, those are some places I'm looking forward to.
Incredible. I love these conversations so much. And I love learning about what's come and gone. And I'm just like, I went to Ama Kitchen, which has a fantastic dosha. And I know I learned about that on these conversations. So Lindsay, thank you so much for bringing the goods. As always, this was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
That's Lindsay Christians, food and culture editor at the Cap Times. If you want to check out her article about all the new restaurants, head to our show notes for a link. That's all for today, here on CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, your host. If you enjoyed the show, why not share this episode with the person in your life who's always trying new things? All right, we'll be back tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Until then, eat well.